Hey there, Dominic Steele, Daily Bible Time, Monday morning, and good to have you with us. And we're in 1 Corinthians 7, and we're tracking through these verses. Let me pick it up in verse 12. To the rest I say this, now this is I, not the Lord. If any brother has a wife who's not a believer, and she's willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who's not a believer, and he's willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. Now, a lot of theological blood has been spilt over the expression, I, not the Lord, in verse 12. Paul says, to the rest, I say this, I, not the Lord. And some people have said, see, this is just the word of Paul. This is not the word of the Lord Jesus. Therefore, we don't need to listen to this. Now, that is wrong. For the Apostle Paul is an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ. And he says in 1 Corinthians 2, we have the mind of Christ. He says he has the mind of Christ. Or you just jump forward a few verses to 1 Corinthians 7 verse 40. He says, in my judgment, she's happier if she stays as she is. And I think that I too have the Spirit of God. So Paul is speaking as an apostle of Christ by the Spirit of God. My uncle used to be Australia's ambassador to Italy, and when Rory Steele spoke in Rome, it was the government of Canberra speaking. He spoke with the very authority of Canberra. So with the apostle, he speaks with the authority of the Lord Jesus Christ. Well, what does the apostle say? Verse 12, to the rest I say this, I, not the Lord. If any brother has a wife who's not a believer, and she's willing to live with him, he must not divorce her. And if a woman has a husband who's not a believer and he's willing to live with her, she must not divorce him. So, are you a Christian? Have you got a non-Christian spouse? Then do what you can to make the marriage work as far as it depends on you. You are not to divorce. Why? Well, it seems that the argument that in Corinth that had been put up was that people in Corinth were saying, well, they're saying it's good for not to have sex, it's good to have not even have sex in marriage, perhaps even considering divorcing and living the ascetic life in order to be pure and holy. And you can hear the misguided Christian in Corinth thinking aloud, it's especially important if I divorce, if I'm married to a non-Christian, and thinking I'm being corrupted, I'm being made unpure by being so close to the non-Christian, and I couldn't get any closer to them than sharing a bed with them, being physically intimate with them. And Paul says, no, you stay with your unbelieving spouse. They are not corrupting you. Rather, you are having a positive impact on them. 14, for the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but as it is, they're holy. Two sorts of people in the world, Christians and non-Christians. They have two different sorts of children. Children who are inside the covenant and children who are not inside the covenant. Children who are outside the covenant promises of God. So the children of non-Christians grow up as non-Christians until they make an independent decision to become Christian. And the children of Christians are Christians. They're covenant kids, until they make a choice not to be Christian. So Kath and I, as we raised our kids, we treated them as Christian. We, sitting around the table having dinner, we would invite our kids to lead in prayer at family mealtime. We'd speak openly about Jesus being the Lord of our family who died for us. We would treat them as Christian until, God forbid, they were to tell us that they didn't want to be. Now, what if you're a parent and only one parent is Christian? 14, for the unbelieving husband has been sanctified through his wife. The unbelieving wife has been sanctified through her believing husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but as it is, they're holy. They have exactly the child of a marriage, a mixed marriage, a Christian married to a non-Christian. They have exactly the same standing as the children of two Christians. Now, digression, minor point. This is one of the verses in the Bible that informs my thinking on infant baptism. Because I'm treating my children as Christian from birth, that's why we chose to get our kids baptized at an early age. Now, there's heaps more to say, and we'll pick this up tomorrow on Daily Bible Time. Thanks for joining us today, and look, do click like at the end of this post, or write a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Love you to engage in the teaching that we're doing each day here on Daily Bible Time. And thanks for being with us. See you tomorrow.